Narayanam namaskritam naram jaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayodirya nishtaprayashu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevya bhagavati tamashiki bhaktir bhavati naistike
Vishu
nirgama
Bhadreshu
brahmarudgaritam param shukam ita samitam pibata bhagatam rasamarayam mahora hurishibhagam Krishna swadamapagate dhammagana karo nashta dishamasha paranako dunodidam Twamapi adabhishuta vishutam vivu samapi adhyana pirambiduksiram prakyahi mahori duhura artitatmanam sanklesha nirvana musanti nanyataham anarto pashimam shakshad bhakti yoga lokasiddhana chakra satpara samhitam Hey Krishna karuna sindhu dino bandhu jagapate gopesha gopika kanta radhikanta namostude Jayatam surito pango mama manir matergati matsarvasha param bhojara adana madana mohan Sriman Rasarasaram Vivam Sivana Karsan Venersanurpya Gopinata Sri Sara Divyad Brindrani Kalpadrumata Srimad Ratnagana Shimashanashto Shri Sri Radha Shila Govindade Prasadabhi Seva Manushmanami Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmani Tayacha Jagati Taya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Mangalang Bhagavan Vishnu Mangalam Gudhadajam Mangalam Padadi Kaksho Mangalayatanovarim Om Narayanaaya Vidmahi Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tano Vishnu Prachodayate Om Mahadevi Cha Vidmahi Vishnu Padniti Dhimahi Tano Lakshmi Prachodayate Mahalakshmi Namastubhyam Sare Sare Hari Pira Namastubhyo Dhira Dhire Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vindapanishari Vishavana Sute Devi Pranamani Hari Priyate Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutare Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachanine Vishes Sanyuvari Praskadade Satarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thanks for joining me, Rob, on Zoom, and Namamrita on Facebook. We've got Brent is in India doing yatra with Vaisheshika. Yeah. So today is Transcendental Tuesday. Our topic is the original person. Sanskrit for that is Adi Purusha. Adi means the first person. That person from whom every other person came. That person who did not himself come from another person, but who is himself the source of all other personalities. Govindam, he's known as Govinda. Go means cows, go means census, go means owner of land. Adi Purusham Tamahang Bijami. That first person who is worshipped by the creator of this universe, Lord Brahma, appeared originally from a lotus flower surrounded by darkness, did his own research, climbed up and down the lotus flower, swam throughout the waters at the bottom of the universe. It still hadn't got an idea how to begin the creation of the universe. And by creation, what I mean to say is that Lord Brahma is an engineer. He manipulates matter. He calculates angles. He calculates stress. He figures out what works and what doesn't work. And that's the extent of Brahma's creation. He prepares matter, but the real creation comes from Krishna. It's only after Krishna glances over material creation that it springs up in 8,400,000 species of life. Before Krishna impregnates material nature with his transcendental glance, everything is conglomerate. Everything is bunched together: earth, air, fire, water, mind, intelligence, and false ego. It's all lumped together, indistinguishable, non-differentiate. And when Krishna glances over material nature, then he impregnates the conglomerated material nature with the millions and millions of spirit souls, living beings who are just now waking up from a long sleep, which endured for the period of non-manifestation. Many of those souls may very well have been active in a previous incarnation, but having failed to achieve the pure state of Krishna conscious devotional service, They were interrupted in the middle of their plan-making business, in the middle of their scholarship, in the middle of their yoga practices. They were interrupted in the middle of whatever they were doing that did not involve Krishna. They were part of the cosmic annihilation, put to sleep for a long period of time, equal to the period of non-manifestation. And now, when there's a new creation, there's a new Brahma, there's a new universe which needs to be fashioned, then Krishna reawakens them, and by glancing over material nature, impregnates into material nature. Not only that, but he embeds them in material nature in such a way that they're able to continue what it was they were pursuing in the previous creation. Now, that was such a long time ago that none of us are capable of remembering what it was we were doing at the time of the last cosmic annihilation, what our plans were, what our to-do list was. We don't have the mental capacity, the recall to know what it was before we went to sleep for 311 trillion years. So then how is it that we wake up and we immediately resume what it was that was interrupted millions and trillions of years ago? And that's the all-knowing feature of Krishna. That's the Paramatma who accompanies the individual living entity from lifetime to lifetime, from cosmic manifestation, from species to species, from planet to planet. It is because of the omniscience of the Lord that we're able to catch up and immediately take up the business which we were pursuing during the last creation. Krishna is the Adi Purush. He's never subject to cosmic creation, nor is he subject to cosmic annihilation. He stands transcendental. He stands above all of that. At the same time, you can't separate Krishna from any part of his creation. He is at one and the same time pure, transcendental, apart from this inferior, contaminated, temporary material energy, and he is inseparable from this material energy. I remember a story about the Rajasthani saint Mirabai. Mirabai had, from a very early age, considered herself the bride of Krishna, even in pre-puberty. But her family, for political reasons, married her into another clan of Rajasthanis. And unlike her father's family, the family that she married into did not particularly regard Krishna, or rather they regarded Durga, and part of Durga worship is offering meat on certain occasions. She went into this other family with other customs, other traditions, non-Krishna bhakti, but she wouldn't compromise. She wouldn't give up her vegetarianism. She wouldn't give up her staunch faith in Lord Krishna. And got so it got the relatives, the in-laws. Her husband was a pretty good guy, but her in-laws wanted her to be more malleable. And finally, they became to consider her as an enemy, as a traitor to their family. And they demanded that she give up her Krishna bhakti. And her response was pretty classic. She held up an earthen pot and she said, when you can cause this pot to give up its earthenness, its earthy quality, then I will give up my love for Krishna, my Lord, my husband, my lover. What was she saying? Krishna is embedded within us, even though we don't care for him, we don't regard him, we don't particularly follow his instructions. His love for us is so great, in spite of our disregard, in spite of our delinquency. Krishna can't leave us even for a moment. He's not attracted to what we're doing. He's not attracted to the activities that we're absorbed in at present. If anything, he's repulsed by them, but he's attracted to us, first of all, because we're created with his hand, and every parent loves their children. Even if the children get off track, even if the children do things which are considered abominable by society in general, the parent will never give up their love for the child simply by virtue of the fact that they created the child. Even the child hasn't done anything praiseworthy, even the child hasn't done anything worth loving them for. The love of the parent is costless. It's not contingent. It's not conditional. Parent loves the child no matter what. And the second reason why Krishna as the Paramatma never leaves the living being is because he knows of what you are capable. Not only does he love you unconditionally, just because you're his and you're born from him, you're a byproduct of him, but another reason that he will never depart you, no matter what you do, no matter what heinous crime you may accomplish, is that he knows that should you come into the light, either by your own introspection, by parliamentary discussions, or by the intercession of another, we have so many examples of Narada Muni interceding in the lives of greatly sinful people like Magrare, like Valmiki in his previous life as a robber. So many examples where a child of the light, someone whom we would describe as evil incarnate, once the light entered their lives, everything changed. Just as a room, it's pitch black. You can't see your hand in front of your face. If you try to walk, you bump into things, you hurt your ankle, you trip, you fall, you hit the wall. It's a terrible, miserable, confusing situation. However, if you should happen by accident to swipe your hand along the wall and hit the light switch, then presto, all your problems are solved. You can see everything very clear. Everything becomes what's called prakash. Everything becomes crystal clear. So Krishna sticks with us like a friend, sticks with us like a brother, because he knows that all it takes is a cry for help. All it takes is to come to that point, that cul-de-sac, that dead end, that bottom level where one realizes it's not working out for me. I wanted to be independent of God. I wanted to make my own decisions, own my own property, have my own family, have people say my name, get my picture in the newspaper, be known for a wealthy man with a big bank account. That didn't work out. That didn't work out because constitutionally, I'm a servant of the Lord. And if I go against my own constitutional nature to be a master rather than a servant, I can never be happy, no matter what. I can never be happy, no matter what. Sometimes we see two women, and one of them has a short haircut, big muscles, tattoos, and she's swinging her arms. The other one's quite feminine. So I'm not against gays or lesbians or anything like that. I'm definitely in the camp live and let live. I'm not making any judgment calls, but you have to admit it does seem just a little unnatural, just a little odd, because women are beautiful and men are strong. So when you say a woman with a lantern jaw and pimples and a butch cut and big muscles and tattoos and maybe a vest and rides a motorcycle, it's just there's just something something odd about that. And so similarly, we're not meant to be the Purusha. We're not meant to be the controller, the Lord, the Adi Purusha, the first person. We're byproducts. There's one supreme, singular, eternal, and every other living entity, including Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, is a byproduct of that one Adi Purusha, that one original person. You may be aware that one single seed can cause an entire forest. One seed enters into the ground, that seed produces a tree, that tree produces fruits and flowers. The seeds from those fruits and flowers drop to the ground. They produce a proportionally greater number of trees, plants, and creepers, so that within a few generations, plant generations, you have a whole thicket, a whole forest. Not even just with one type of tree, but multiple varieties of trees and plants and fruits, and perhaps even vegetables and creepers and so on and so forth. So from one seed, you can get potentially a whole forest. So Lord Brahma, when he says, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamahang Bijami, Basically, he's saying that Krishna is that original person from whom all other seeds come. Now, not only is he an original person from whom all other persons come, but the pastimes, the occupations of Krishna are the highest and the original occupations of which the living being is capable. In his other incarnations, like Vishnu, like Rama, like Narayan, he has personal relationships. To be a person means to have personal relationships. To be a person means not to live in a vacuum, not to live in isolation, but the 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 fact of your personhood carries with it the recognition that persons mix with other persons. Persons have personal relationships. Well, what happens if you only have originally one person? With whom is that one person supposed to associate? From whom is that one person supposed to get pleasure and enjoy reciprocity? However, that one person we're talking about is not only original, but he's omniscient, he's omnipotent. And one of the perks of being omnipotent is that you can create plenary and partial portions of yourself. From your original personality, you can expand and become other persons. And if you're the supreme, you can create other persons in such a way as those other persons, although coming from you, are not just mirror reflections, are not just outputs from an assembly line, one carbon copy after another, just the opposite. Every creation, every person who emanates from you, including millions of Brahmas, millions of Shivas, millions of Vishnus, millions of living entities, each and every one of them has their own unique individual personality. They're not carbon copies. And to the point where they can even deny Krishna or God, their creator. That's how much independency, that's how much autonomy each and every living being has. And why does God give his created parts and parcels so much autonomy? Wouldn't things be much simpler, much peaceful, much more harmonious if God built them not only physically after his own image, but he programmed them. He pre-programmed them to be peaceful, to be nonviolent, to be loving. Well, the problem with that is true love doesn't occur unless it's a matter of choice. You can never force one person to love another. When it comes to love, you may be able to force people in all kinds of other ways, but you cannot force someone to love another person. Just recently in Russia, Putin eliminated his chief critic. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he sent him to the Arctic and then he arranged for him to die. So if Putin thinks now that he can by force make everyone love him, he has a problem. And that is that the critic who he killed, his wife, who previously was silent and took a background role, now she became upset to the point where she's going to take up her husband's mission. And I suspect she will be much more of a thorn in the side of Putin than her husband was. And she will have immense sympathy throughout all of the Russian state. And so Putin is killing using force. Say, if you don't love me, I will kill you. Doesn't work. In fact, not only does it not work, but it backfires. It backfires on you. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. So when it comes to the area of love, force is counterproductive. Force will ricochet on you. You have to give the living being their measure of independence, their free agency, if you are to hope for an eventual, intimate, loving, reciprocal relationships. So the highest relationship in which God is engaged with the most exalted devotees of himself, the expansions of him, who then turn around and serve him most selflessly, most loving, the expansions of him who then, having come from him, turn themselves not away from him, but back to him, put their heads at his feet in a symbol of love and trust and respect, and offer themselves on the altar of Krishna's lotus feet. Whatever you want, Lord, take my life and let it be consecrated to thee. Take my moments and my days, let them flow in faceless praise. Those are called in Madhurya Rasa. Prabhupada has nicely translated the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Sudha Rupa Goswami, which describes all the different relationships and sub-relationships that one can have with the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his emanated parts and parcel. And the king, the queen, the topmost of all relationships is called Madhurya Rasa. Madhurya Rasa. That is the relationship of conjugal love. Now let's start at the bottom. The first rasa is Santa. That's a relationship which one has with God, with one's creator, of neutrality. If you're in Santa Rasa, you're not so much actively engaged in mobile service, but you're providing support. You're the director of scenery. You're grass to provide a nice soft cushion for the Lord and his devotees' feet. You're a cloud to shade the Lord, or a tree to shade the Lord from the sunshine. You might be a cow who just looks at the Lord. Danya Shamuda Gatio Padin Yada Yananda Nandramo Pata Karnavenumanam Pujam Duro Varocharam Parokaham. Said the cows worship the Lord with loving looks from their big, round, beautiful, doe-like eyes. So then above Santa, then the next thickest, not that one's necessarily better than the other. Everyone is perfectly suitable. Every level is suitable for those who find themselves in that level. And so beyond the grass, the trees, the clouds, the water, there are those who serve the Lord, and that's called dasya. Krishna exhibits his childhood pastimes amongst his friends, the cowherd boys and cowherd girls. Some of them are equal to him, and therefore they're on a level of parity with him. That's called Sakya, the relationship of friendship. Some of them are passive, and between friendship and passivity, there's another level called Dasya, which is servitorship. One serves the Lord, not as an equal, but one serves the Lord as a subordinate, as one younger than the Lord, and as one who naturally, according to custom and culture, goes and fetches things and arranges things and carries things and does all the background work, the footwork, you might see, the roadies of the spiritual world. And those are the cowherd boys and cowherd girls who are younger than Krishna himself. Then the next highest, thickest level of relationship is called Vatsalya. Vatsalya are those who do not serve the Lord in a menial way. It's a higher level than being equal to the Lord. Those who love the Lord in the mood of Vatsalya, parental mood, they take a superior role to the Lord, or let us put it this way, in order to provide a channel for their love and their desire to serve, the Lord appears before them as a subordinate. Just as the Dasya are subordinate to the Lord and the Sakya are equal to the Lord himself plays the role of the child of Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Vasudeva, and Devaki, those who have a parental mood of service to the Lord. The Lord doesn't stifle that. He doesn't stunt that. He doesn't dam that river of affection up, but he provides a channel for it to flow by playing the role of the son of Vasudeva and Devaki and Nanda and Yashoda. But now we come to the topmost reciprocal relationship called Madhurya Rasa, or Madhurya Lila. And that is the role of conjugal lovers, which is fulfilled by Radharani and her associates. You have the servants, you have the friends, you have the parents, and then you have the lovers. Now, in Madhurya Rasa is contained all of the moods of the other four rasas. Sometimes Those who are in conjugal love with the Lord, who have a conjugal relationship with the Lord, sometimes they serve him passively. And sometimes those in Madhurya Lasa serve the Lord uh, in the mood of a subordinate. And sometimes they serve the Lord in the mood of an equal. And sometimes they even parent Krishna. They even take the role of a parent in order to console Krishna. And then they also act as the conjugal lover. Na parayaham niravadya samaro shasha vubadaya shapaya yo mabhajandurjaya samrija taba pratyantikanam. Krishna says of the gopis who are willing to play any role, to perform any service. It's not that they say, well, I can only do this, but I can't do this. Or I can't do this, but I can do that. They make no conditions on their love and their service for Krishna. They'll do anything for Krishna. Asam aso, hari Justam charanam vrindavane ashan api guma lashodati sajasharam shajaram aryapatam hedpam bhajam nakandam anadvin shutabi birmigihi. Says the nature of the gopis is such that they, or actually this is a prayer by Uddhava, glorifying the gopis as the topmost devotees of Lord. Uddhava is in friendship, by the way, and sometimes he's in parental mood. When Krishna needs to get advice from a very wise associate, he goes to Uddhava. Uddhava is a disciple of Brihaspati, who is the wisest of all the demigods. Brihaspati mentored Uddhava and taught him all the principles of wisdom. So when Krishna wants wisdom, he goes to Uddhava. Therefore, Uddhava is not only a friend, but he also serves Krishna in somewhat of a parental relationship. However, when Krishna sent Uddhava to Vrindavan to meet the gopis, Uddhava realized that there's a whole nother world. There's a whole nother top floor above me as a friend or me as a parent. And that floor is exclusive franchise of the gopis of Vrindavan, the milkmaids of Vrindavan. Uddhava said, even though I'm a friend of the Lord, Uddhava looks like the Lord. He has the same facial complexion. The reason that Krishna sent Uddhava to Vrindavan is that the devotees were missing the beautiful form, the color, the voice, the sound of Krishna's voice. And of all inhabitants of the planet, the one who most even physically resembled Krishna was Uddhava. So he thought, the best person to console the gopis is Uddhava, because he looks like me, talks like me, he knows me intimately. We're like this. And yet even Uddhava admitted total defeat in the face of the unconditional association and unconditional surrender of the gopis. Krishna also had previously said the gopis they've given up family, friends, country, they've given up their reputations, they've risked everything to leave their husbands' beds, to leave the room in which their babies are cradled and come beckon to the call of my flute at midnight. A young girl, what to speak of a married girl, leaves the house at midnight. There's only one explanation. You don't have to know where she's going or what she's doing in terms of specifics. There's only one reason why a young girl in her mid-teens is going to sneak out of the house against their parents' wishes, going around behind the backs of their husbands, and even abandoning their own children, their own babies in the cradle who are dependent of the child. Every newborn couple, we get couples that come to the temple for our Sunday program, and some of them are new parents. They have new babies, and quite often they have circles under their eyes. They have trouble staying awake during the lecture because the baby keeps them up at night. The baby is likely to wake up at all hours of the night and want milk. The parents have to be on call. They are not guaranteed 8 hours of sleep or 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep or even 3 hours of uninterrupted sleep. New parents are famous for being sleep deprived. So think of the gopis. They've got newborn babies who are likely to wake up at any time or every time during the night and cry for their mother's milk. And they, in order to heed the higher principle of serving God, the supreme Adi Purusha, as cute as babies are, as faithful as husbands are, as protective as aunts, relatives, parents, grandparents as good as all those are, the gopis know an essential truth. It all comes from Krishna. It all comes from Krishna. As the original person, any quality to which we're attracted in this created, manifested material world has its origin in Krishna. Krishna is your mother. Krishna is your father. Krishna is your child. Krishna is your friend. Krishna is your lover. Whatever pleasure you get from any interpersonal relationship originates in Krishna. So the bottom line is you will not, in pursuing Krishna consciousness, ever feel that anything is missing from your life. You'll never feel that in pursuing Krishna consciousness, that you've left something else, that you've missed something else, that you've been cheated from something else. You'll never feel anything left out of your life, because Krishna is the only one who can fill that need within the heart for an intimate, loving relationship. Therefore, he's called Adi Purush, and it is the Krishna incarnation in his two arms with his flute playing, Shmeran Bangi Treya Prachatam Sachivishnam Dhanam Bamsi Nashtara Kushram Ujaram Chandakenam Govinda Kyam Haritanam Isha Keshir Tirtha Pakante Maprekshashtava Yadi Sake Bandhu Sangestriya. It is that Krishna form, not Vishnu, not Ram, not Narayan. It is the Krishna form that attracts the minds of the most exalted personalities within the universe. When he stands by the banks of the Yamuna River, bathed in the moonlight sparkling off his dazzling white teeth, the flute to his lips, with his smile, an inscrutable Mona Lisa smile on his face, no living being can resist his attractiveness. That is the ultimate feature of God. As beautiful as Narayan is, as beautiful as Ram is, as beautiful as Vishnu, Krishna has features. Krishna has attractive, beautifying qualities that no other incarnation of Krishna has. And as Krishna, as the 16-year-old Navayovanam Cha, perennial, ever-existing youth, it is Krishna who attracts the minds of the gopis, not Vishnu, not Ram, not Narayan, not Varaha, not Nrsimha, not Kurma. Krishna. Krishna is the Adi Purush. Therefore, Krishna is synonymous with Madhurya Rasa. Krishna is synonymous with conjugal love. And so when Krishna calls you, he's calling you in the same way that he called the gopis. Prabhupada established International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He could have established International Society for Ram Consciousness or Vishnu Consciousness or Varaha Consciousness, or he could have established the International Society for God Consciousness. But in establishing the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Prabhupada staked his claim. He identified himself. He set the goal for the highest level of activity of which the human being is capable of, serving the two-handed, all-attractive Kandarpa Koti Kamini Avishesha Sobam Govindam Hari Purusham Tama. That Krishna from whom all attractive features come. That Krishna from whom the attraction of Brahma, the attraction of Shiva, the attraction of Vishnu, the attraction of Brahma are simply reflected qualities from Krishna himself. And Krishna is calling your name. He knows you better than you know yourself. He hankers after you becoming everything he created you to be. If you're in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, if you're a disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and if you follow the teachings of your spiritual master, you're not going to go to be with Ram, you're not going to go to Vishnu, you're not going to go to Narayan, you're not going to go to the demigods, you're not going to go to the ancestors, you're not going to go to the city, the yoga planet, you're going to go directly to the highest planet within the spiritual world, which is called Goloka Vrindavan. You're going to go to Krishna. And it's only with Krishna that you can have the highest level of conjugal rasa. With the others, there's always some element of force. There's some element of intimidation. Aishvara ganate sabhajukit aishvara sthitere nama pritam. Krishna himself says, when I'm worshipped in Dwarka as the king of Dwarka with reverential hymns of the Vedas and a lot of protocol, and a lot of ceremony, and a lot of ritual, and a lot of pomp, he says, that's well and good. That's good. That's nice. It's good to worship God. It's good to recognize that he's all powerful, all supreme. It's good to be a little intimidated. It's good to have a little formality. But when I hear the chastising, critical words of Radharani, who loves me without any reservation, without any protocol or etiquette, it steals my mind away from the reverent hymns of the Vedas. Priyayadi mana kari kara vedashtuti hare samara. He says, love weakened by intimidation, love weakened by reverence, does not attract me as much as love, which is unconditioned. And the gopis, having given up everything for Krishna, they only know Krishna. They don't know anything other than Krishna. When Krishna disappeared, the rasa dance was going on. The gopis were so happy to be with Krishna. The rasa dance lasted for an entire night of Lord Brahma. And the gopis just got more and more deeply, deeply satiated, deeply, deeply satisfied. They'd forgot everything about the material world, their parents, their children, their husbands. They were just where they wanted to be. And Krishna at the same time thought, they're getting a little too comfortable here. They're getting a little too comfortable here. He says, I don't want them to be totally unaware of their village, of their relatives, of their friends, because my devotees don't run away and join the circus. The whole message of Bhagavad Gita is stay where you are, do what you're doing, but change your conscience. Don't change your position. Don't run off permanently in the middle of the night. Let your mind flow, let your soul flow, and let it always be Krishna. But in terms of your duties to your family, friends, and your country, as long as it doesn't conflict with your devotional service, devotees should never be open to criticism for neglecting their duties to their family and their friends and their countries. So Krishna wanted to just bring them back to earth. He wanted to balance the situation a little bit, so he disappeared. One minute Krishna was there, and the next minute he was gone. The gopis said, where's Krishna gone? Where is Krishna? We're out in the dark, in the middle of the night in the forest. There's lions, there's tigers. And they began to search for Krishna right there in the dark, like demented people. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? They asked the trees, they asked the deer, they asked the jungle animals, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? And Krishna appeared before them in his four-handed form as Narayan. As they were running down the path, they found Krishna, but Krishna was not in his two-handed Adi Purusha form, original form, but he was in his more formal, worshipable, imperial monarchical Narayan form with four arms and chakra, padma, gadha, sankhya. So did the gopis say, oh, here's Krishna. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for reappearing before us. No, they didn't. What did they do? They did a curious thing. Even though this is Krishna, and Narayan is a plenary portion of Krishna, he's a full expansion of Krishna, he's worshipable, he's God. The love of the gopis was such that they didn't care that Krishna was God. They didn't even register. They weren't worshiping God because he's God. They weren't worshiping God because of the fact that God owns everything and that you can get stuff from God. They were just worshiping God because that's who they were. So what did they do? They bowed down. They bowed down. They offered their respects. They might have even chanted Om Sastra Purusha Sasaksa. Maybe one or two of them had heard the Brahmins chanting Purusha Shukta. They picked up a verse or two. So to do what they thought was the right thing, Om Sastra Purusha Sasaksa Sasapate Sabamam Vishuducha Disadisangaram Purishevigaram Sarvam Yaksputam Yaksa Tamarirabareshanam, formally addressing and worshiping the Lord. And as soon as they could, as soon as they felt they'd done the minimum to acknowledge the four-armed form of God, they told Vishnu, Narayan, what was really on their mind. They said, have you seen Krishna anywhere? Excuse me, Lord. We're going this way in the path. You're coming this way. Did you see Krishna this way? Should we continue this way or should we take another route? They were worshiping God, but they really wanted Krishna. They didn't want God. They wanted Krishna. Krishna doesn't himself want to be God. Natasha Kararam Kararam Chavidida Natatsamas Javada Parasha Shakti Vivada Shabhavaka Balakriyam. God is defined as that person than whom no one is greater or equal. And as the greatest person who has no equal, what he does is he creates from his own energies this material universe with all of its controllers, like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. All of that comes from Krishna. And having emanated from Krishna, it can then act independently. It no longer requires Krishna's management or Krishna's supervision. He endows all those energies, jnana bala kriyaha, with the potencies, the activity, the knowledge, to do everything perfectly, expertly, precisely, so that he himself does not have to be involved in management to any degree. He plays his flute. He keeps himself reserved for intimate personal relationships with his devotees. This is the Adi Purush. This is the Krishna than whom no one is greater than equal. And this is the personality of Godhead that His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, has revealed to the Western world. And those who have recognized what it is that Prabhupada has given and recognize the power that Prabhupada has to pass on Krishna Bhakti, not Vishnu Bhakti, not Ram Bhakti, not Narayan Bhakti, but Krishna Bhakti. Of course, Krishna Bhakti includes all of the rest, but and yet at the same time, it is beyond all of the rest. Krishna being the Adi Purush, Krishna being the Lord of Rasa Lila, the Lord of Bhakti. So if we follow faithfully, Srila Prabhupada will take us to that highest destination of which it is possible for those souls to achieve in the human form of life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you for joining. An exclusive crowd this morning. Brent's in India, and someone else is missing. I can't think right away. But we've got Namamrita Das. Thank you very much, Namamrita Das. Today is Varaha appearance day and Nityananda Trayodasi coming up. We had a reading last night about Lord Varaha, and we'll read about the Guru. Speaking of the Guru and what the Guru delivers, the original Guru is Nityananda, the elder brother of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to facilitate the spread of Krishna Bhakti all over the world. The sun and moon rarely rise simultaneously. When the sun is up, the moon is generally down. When the moon is up, the sun is generally down. But Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda arose simultaneously on the horizon of Bengal to bless all living beings with Krishna Bhakti, should they want to take that which is freely given. So we owe everything to Lord Nityananda, who sent Srila Prabhupada to us in the Western countries. Anjali is there. Radhe, Radhe. Britta, thanks very much for joining us Britta as well. Chakras aligned. Pragna from Houston. Jai Sri Krishna. Haribo. Hare Krishna, Pragna, and Yogi. We're missing you here. Priya Krishna. Happy Ekadasi. That was yesterday. Thank you very much. I think we're probably observing fast from grains at least part of the day today. Anjali, when you change the earthiness of this pot, quote from Mirabai. Natasha, good morning. Top of the morning to you and Larry. Anjali gives us a bit of an excerpt of a quote from Uddhava, Govinda Dev, Haribo, Lakshmi Nrsimha. Thanks all of you for joining us in this Transcendental Tuesday. We'll move over here from the left of my screen to the right of the screen where we have Rob. Rob, did you get a chance to create any ditties for us this morning?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you for this class this morning.
Okay.
All right. Just as earth cannot be separated from clay, Krishna cannot be separated from us in any way.
Wonderful.
In the dark, we trip and fall and hit the wall. In the light, we stand tall and see it all.
Beautiful.
As one seed can start a forest, one devotee can make bhakti flourish.
Wow, you're on a roll today.
Use honey to catch flies, use love to open eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Nurture unbound love for the Lord above.
Boy, beautiful.
And unconditionally serve the Lord of Bhakti and receive his unconditional loving Shakti.
Excellent. Excellent.
Haribol.
Well, you're very prolific and also hitting the nail on the head every single time. Good contribution. Very grateful for that. Send them over. I'll look forward to posting them. This has been Transcendental Tuesday. I enjoyed spending time with you. I think we had a good discussion. How could we not have had a good discussion when we're talking about Uddhava, the gopis, and Madhurya Rasa? So tomorrow we join again. Take it further. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.